What is happening? Welcome to the Plus Pitch Podcast, more pitching podcast from pitcherlist.com. My name is Nick Pollock. Today is April 19th, and yes, we are going to talk about baseball. Andrew Abbott was the lead today. Abbott Elementary, because he took us to school, especially the Orioles, as he demolished them for 6 innings, 1 run, 2 hits, 1 walk, and 11 strikeouts. Here's the shtick. I don't know the sticky. It was depressed velocity the last time I was down on him because it was 91.5 while having 93.5 last year on the velocity. Also, the changeup to right-handers was inconsistent. He was close, but it was essentially lining up outside, and he wasn't really nailing it down. And the secondaries weren't impressing me. Well, in this one, the velocity was still down, but it was a better changeup. It was much tighter, down and away inside that quadrant to right-handers, and he just destroyed them with it. Also, that pitch, because it was so good, did set up the four-seamer more inside the zone for strikes. Lots of called strikes on it, 12 of them in 46% usage. I don't think that's real. I know the changeup did help with it, but it's still very hittable, not that good of a pitch. The curveball is solid, and it's helping out the sweeper not so much. I think this is a much better version of Abbott. It's not one I've really seen before with that changeup being such a prominent pitch to right-handers. I like it. He gets Coors next. You don't need to go after it now because of that. But after that, it should be St. Louis. And if that's the case, then I would go for Abbott after that Coors outing. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, ace is going to ace. Love to see it. Also, the slider and cutter getting in there for strikes. 10 over 12 strikes. Good to see. He had a gallows pull at 20 whiffs. 7 innings, 0 runs, 5 hits, 0 walks, and 10 Ks. Carlos Rodon was great. 6 innings of 0 runs, 2 hits, 4 walks, and 9 strikeouts. We saw the slider go all over the place at 57% strikes, but the Rodon fastball is at 96. We love to see that ramping up as well. Everything is cool here. I just wish the changeup was better. I really do, but everything is fine. Also, he might want to throw that sinker to right-handers to really set up that changeup a bit better, especially considering that is a 10-inch drop. Nearly a foot drop difference from the four-seamer. I think you could get a lot of quick outs landing that down and away to right-handers. You have Tyler Anderson just doing what he's supposed to do. 6 innings of 0 runs, 3 hits, 2 walks, 6 Ks against a good matchup. This was against the Giants. Look, Tyler Anderson is so undervalued. He got the win here. He has a 19 to 20-inch vert four-seamer and a changeup that is still cooking. And as long as he gets good matchups, you go for it. He gets the Pirates next. That is a probable start, just like this one was for me. Love it. You have Freddie Peralta against the Athletics. You have a bit of Professor Chaos here with a lot of non-competitive pitches. However, through enough good ones, got 16 whiffs to go 5 innings, 0 runs, 7 hits, 1 walk, and 5 strikeouts. You love to see it. He got singled out. He kind of deserved it a little bit. But Freddie Peralta, we still roll with it. Jacob deGrom, y'all were so scared, terrified, especially against the Dodgers. Oh my gosh, what's wrong with him? He's not going to do this. But then again, we told you on the craft, top 10% in swing strike rate. I think he was 6th, near 18% swing strike rate overall. You know this was going to get fixed. And what you know, he's at 97.1. It's like DeGrom rose to the occasion to say, look, I'm still the GOAT. 7 innings, 1 run, 3 hits, 1 walk, and 7 strikeouts against the Dodgers. Only 8 whiffs. He got a lot of called strikes on the four-seam, and then swing as much at it. The slider was impeccable. Oh my gosh, he nailed it so well down and away to right-handers, and he threw it to lefties down completely. Now, some of those were for called strikes, some of those were for those whiffs at the back foot. We did see some changeups. Some of them were really good because they were expecting the fastball. Well, and sometimes I think, oh man, if you just get that down and away a little bit more, like he did in the spring. But yeah, Jacob deGrom is really good. Also, 7 innings. You didn't think you were going to see it, did you? 96 pitches. Amazing. He got the loss because it was against Yamamoto, which is so dumb. It's like he's a Met again of pitching amazing baseball and still getting a loss. All right. Bowden Francis against the Mariners in Toronto, not at the T. 6 innings, 1 earned run, 5 hits, 1 walk, and 5 strikeouts. Look, I've been really down on Bowden Francis. However, I recognize that it's 18 inches of vert. He's flirting with 7 feet of extension. It's 6.8, which is good. It's at 92, 93, but that's it. I don't really think the splitter is that good. Maybe it does make the four-seamer better just by existing, but he floats that one. He floats the curve. It's still so weird for me, but I'm going to stop saying this because you guys know my take on Bowden Francis. I think you should have him on your teams and keep rolling with him. I don't care if I'm thinking, if I keep saying like, oh, I don't think this shouldn't work, and it keeps working, I'm going to say, yeah, keep doing it, whatever. I kind of see it as an extended Vargas rule, but it doesn't matter. I'm telling you to hold on to him. I'm also saying like this is why I just think it's very strange. Okay. You have Hunter Dobbins against the White Sox. He showed up for the Red Sox in this battle of the pink laundry. 6 innings, 1 runs, 3 hits, 0 walks, and 6 Ks. This was a product of the Cry Sox. There's nothing interesting inside of this for Dobbins. It's a 95-mile-per-hour heater with 16 inches of vert and not good extension. It's like normal extension and normal attack angle. Like it shouldn't really be that great, especially when the command of it is not great. It's not exceptional. And then he doesn't have any good breaking balls on top of it. So all of this is just not the kind of pitcher that we want to chase. And now he's in AAA. And it's because Brian Bayos should be returning very soon. I don't think he should be going after Dobbins when he does return. We have Logan Webb going against the Angels, and boy, it was nice to have him back. 6 innings, 1 run, 4 hits, 0 walks, and 12 strikeouts. Oh, this is nice. I felt like I wanted to scream Ace is going to ace, but he hasn't been. This is the first real good one we've seen. 52% CSW on his changeup, 11 for 27 whiffs. He threw them mostly against right-handers, down and into them, and it was glorious. He had all of these called strikes with a 37% CSW on that sinker. Now, the sweeper was weird. It was kind of backdoor to lefties, and it was just over the plate against righties. And this was more old school Logan Webb to me with that sinker changeup against the righties. Lefty approach was actually kind of strange. It was like double the amount of sweepers than changeups to lefties. I don't get that. Why? Changeup should be much better against lefties. I don't know. It's strange. What isn't strange is Drew Rasmussen killing it again. Yes, it was the Yankees. I get it. He hasn't gone more than 5 or whatever. 5.2 innings, 84 pitches. We're getting there. And this was 5.2 innings of 1 run, 3 hits, 3 walks, 7 Ks. You should also thank Carlos Rodon for not allowing a run, and not because of the loss. I get it, but because he went 5.2 innings. He would have been pulled with 5 if this was like a 5-0 game, right? I imagine the Rays kept him going because of that. And look, he has 17 whiffs, 38% CSW against the Yankees. Rasmussen's 4-seamer cutter mix is just insanely hard to hit. You love him, embrace him, hold him tight. Drew Rasmussen is showcasing everybody with all of his arm injuries and elbow injuries and all the surgeries and stuff that you can still be dope after getting more than one surgery. You have Chris Paddock against Atlanta, 5 innings, 1 run, 3 hits, 1 walk, and 6 Ks. Great to see him have a good performance. You know, he only really had that one absolutely terrible one against the White Sox. However, this one, I can't really endorse it. The fastball was at 94.5. Great, not 93. However, the changeup was 0 for 14 whiffs, and he threw them against left-handers. Like, they actually threw decent ones, 50% strikes. You would have thought that this would have had more success, but it didn't. And then the curveball just kind of spun in there, and Atlanta was like, oh, whatever, what is this? I don't know. But it's not really that good of a pitch. The slider's not very good. I'm not in here at all. No, Chris Paddock, I'm so sorry. Jackson Jobe, I wrote a lot about this on the roundup, and I'm going to go into everything about Jackson Jobe and everybody else who started yesterday after this break. 5 innings, 1 run, 5 hits, 2 walks, and 5 Ks. Who's that for? That's Jackson Jobe getting a win against Kansas City. Out-dueling my buddy Cole Reagans, who did not pew-pew-pews. Oh, P-U-U-U. Anyway, I'm so sorry. Returning a 70% strike rate on the slider and making that his foundational pitch is a really good thing for Jackson Jobe. And I wrote a lot of words about this, but the whole thing here is that Jackson Jobe is figuring out how to be successful in the majors and to utilize his arsenal in the best way possible and how to really develop further. What should be the goal here instead of just like, here's my stuff, do whatever you want with this. And what I like about Jobe is that he hasn't destroyed your teams while he's figured this out. I think everyone can acknowledge Jackson Jobe is not pitching at his peak and his potential. But he's not doing so while going 4 innings of 5 earned runs and 6 walks. He's getting strikes. He is an effective pitcher because his stuff is really good. So now we're seeing that slider utilized as a foundational pitch. 4-seamers and sinkers, he has to figure those out a bit. He didn't get any whiffs. I don't believe 0 for 31 on 4-seamers and sinkers combined, which is kind of weird when you throw over 96, right? And then you have a curveball that I think can be that whiff pitch, a major one against right-handers and lefties alike. There's also a changeup in there too that I think has some potential against lefties, but really I don't think that is the path for success. If I had to say like, okay, Jobe, do this, this, and this, and you got it, it would be sliders first, sinkers inside to right-handers. I know it sounds crazy, but sinkers inside to right-handers, 4-seamers are saved up as whiff pitches, as surprise ones, and you have a cutter that you throw at 91, 92 to lefties. That is what I would say. The slider and the curve should be enough to destroy them. You have a sinker inside to get outs, and this surprise with the whiffs upstairs with the 4-seamer, it's fine. 4-seamer should be good enough with a cutter to lefties, because I know he's had one in like the low 90s before. And then you have this big curve that really should just work. So I think Jackson Jobe over time will get there. I don't know if he's going to be that kind of peak guy at the moment, but I do think that Jackson Jobe is going to be a very effective pitcher in time. And we just keep holding for now. Colin Ray, I miss Justin Steele, but 4.2 innings and 1 run, 5 hits, 0 walks, and 5 Ks against the Diamondbacks. Yeah, good job, buddy. He was just under 70 pitches, and eventually he'll be a streamer that we can rely on. Do not expect 5 innings with this pitch count in the future. But hey, it's cool to see him actually not be terrible. This became a slugfest, not because of Colin Ray. Zach Wheeler got the golden goal, 20 was 40% CSW, 7 innings and 13 strikeouts with 2 earned runs, 5 hits, 0 walks. How'd you allow an earned run to the Marlins? I don't know. but thank you, Marlins. Why? Because you allowed Zach Wheeler to experiment. Oh my gosh. He was able to mess around with what his attack plan is against lefties, with four seamers going up and in with some cutters, and then a splitter that had a 47% CSW and 7 over 15 whiffs. Oh my gosh. That is so cool. I love to see that. I mean, yes, the CSW was a swinging strike rate, of course. Now, I do wonder if we're going to see that always from him. And we also saw the sweeper go down and away to right-handers a ton. Really low strike rate, 29%. But the thing about that is that he was really close with it. It wasn't like super uncompetitive. So I love this, that Wheeler was able to be in the situation and mess around with this against the Marlins. I dig it. He's amazing. And hopefully he has reinvented the Wheeler a little bit. All right. I'm so sorry. Corbin Burns, 6 innings, 2 earned runs, 6 hits, 0 walks, and 3 Ks. Hey, we're happy with that start. Sell. Now's the time to sell. To see a 31% strike rate on changeups and 42% on sliders is terrible. 4 over 43 whiffs on all secondaries, that is including the curve, is just so bad. And then the cutter that needs to be this low pitch and it needs to have that drop that it used to have is not there. We're talking 13 inches of vert, not the drop going down to 12, 11, 10, 9. We want to see 9, maybe 8. We actually saw 7 at times last year. But 13 is, oh gosh, no. I was not getting happy at 11. And now we're up to 13, which means it's not dropping as much. That's not good. This is not going to work out the same way. 7 whiffs and 21% CSW for Corbin Burns. This guy used to be earning King Coles every single night. So yeah, this is an easy sell high moment. Luis Ortiz, speaking of high, is throwing high with his 4 seamers, 5 innings, 2 earned runs, 4 hits, 3 walks, and 8 strikeouts. He had 60% high location. That is actually a little bit more than the 59% he had last time. Problem, 47% strike rate. That is a very low strike rate. We want to see that at 60, 65%. And that is why you see 3 walks here. The slider was really well commanded underneath, though. So even when the 4-seamer is not getting those strikes, he's still going up with those. And he paired it with a low slider Blake Snell blueprint. And bam, that is how you get 8 strikeouts from Luis Ortiz all of a sudden. Now, I love this new approach. I feel like this is something that is going to stick around. At least he's going to try to with the intent. He still isn't a command guy generally. He hasn't been really for his pass. We saw a bit of it last year. It's been bad early on. But this feels like an intent change. Problem is he gets the Yankees next. So Luis Ortiz is not someone I'm adding now. We get one more free start, really, as no one's going to pick him up. I don't think for that one, to see if Luis Ortiz still has that intent. I don't really care about what the results are of that game, or is the intent there? And if it is, then I would consider him for streams and possibly a 12-team pickup after that. Ryan Gusto against the Padres. Look, he has a really good 4-seamer at 94 plus. That is at 18 plus inches of vert. That's nice. He keeps it upstairs, and that's it. And it's not... I need to see something else in the secondaries before I really get excited about this. It's with the Astros. They'll figure something out, I'm sure, over time. But as of now, I'm not in on Ryan Gusto, who might not be here for too long. I mean, it's a thumb injury for Arrighetti, but then he gets replaced. But then again, who knows? It might be another injury and Gusto just sticks around. It might be like Arrighetti from last year, where Arrighetti was really bad for like 2 months and then all of a sudden clicked in. You have Miles Michaelis against the Mets. He left after 4.2 innings because he ran into trouble in the 5th and they pulled him. Okay. Brian Wu, 7 innings, 300 runs, 7 hits, 2 walks, 4 Ks. Pretty much the same old of 4-seamers and sinkers. He did see a lot more changeups against lefties, but not really the best version of them, just like middle and down. Not, at least it's not up, but like it's not really well spotted. Whatever. We just keep going with Brian Wu as long as he is starting. We are happy. David Peterson with his elite extension is still doing well against the Cardinals. 9 strikeouts and 5.1 innings with 300 runs, 7 hits, and 0 walks. I hope he can do better with his changeup. Once the slider and the changeup are both cooking, then life is beautiful. Only 55% strikes and 18% CSW in the changeup is not it. But I like David Peterson. I think he is a Toby with the potential to being a Holly, if not a Holly already, just because of that extension, which is like 7.2, 7.3 feet, which is why that 92-mile-per-hour 4-seamer works so well with that changeup and slider down. JT Ginn is very interesting. 4.2 innings of 300 runs, 4 hits, 2 walks, but 7 strikeouts at Milwaukee, 8 whiffs, 24% CSW, threw about 100 pitches here. So why am I excited? Well, the slider wasn't the reason, because it was not a very good one, and he really needs that to be a better pitch. It wasn't the cutter, which was an interesting idea, but it's not really the thing. The sinker is so cool because the sinker is throwing, is sitting inside to lefties, like his front hip lefties, and that's awesome. And he tried to pair it with a cutter inside with it, which I dig, but it really wasn't there. I think the command of right-handers was great too. He just didn't have any support. And I'm watching this from JT Ginn moving forward. I also expect the slider to be better. It traditionally has been. So if he does that against righties, is able to go do his thing against righties, and also is able to do front hip against lefties and just start 0-0 like that, one of the very rare pitchers that I see ever do that. Yeah, that's really, really cool. So definitely your deeper leagues, consider JT Ginn now as a pickup. 12 teamers, I think you can wait, guys. You should wait. Bryce Elder, not very good, more at 11. I didn't do well against the Twins. Don't add him. Martin Perez went against Fenway in Fenway, didn't do well. So we expect him, but now he has forearm soreness, and now he's getting an MRI. So it's not going to be Noah Schultz or Hogan Harris, way too far away from the bigs at this point. Nick Nastrini, maybe. It could be Bryce Wilson replacing it with the White Sox. Either way, don't monitor it. It's fine. You don't need to touch it. Kyle Hart against the Astros didn't do well. Of course not, and hopefully one day becomes a Toby. Carmen Majinski didn't do well against the Guardians, and if you know Carmen the Opera, it was universally thought it was going to be a flop, and then all of a sudden it wasn't. That was the whole joke in the roundup if you didn't get it. Cole Reagans did terribly. 4 innings, 5 earned runs, 6 hits, 3 walks, 8 Ks. A strange one. He didn't throw cutters. The four-seamer wasn't as dominant. The changeup was not as well commanded. Slider was actually kind of cool, and that's that. But yeah, you're just going to keep throwing Cole Reagans out there. Don't worry about this one. 96 plus velocity. Sandy Alcantara is something to be worried about. 2 innings of 600 runs, 4 2 walks, and 1 K. This is 2 straight starts. A really big disappointment. Not to mention, before that, it was lower velocity because he was saying he needed more time to recover. But then again, after that, he got more time to recover, came back and had the last 2 ones, right? This was against the Phillies. He's going against the Reds next. We're just going to keep throwing this, obviously, and he will get traded soon enough. But we just got to hope and pray that Sandy Alcantara is fine. And Kate Povich, yeah, very much of a disappointment so far. 3.1 innings of 700 runs, 11 base runners, 4 Ks, etc. Watching this was just really, really tough to do. And Kate Povich in time should be very good, I think, as a command guy. But right now, he really has to take this time to really experiment with it and figure out, how do I nail my four-seamer against right-handers and get my changeup going? How do I do these things and be as precise as I can and really focus on that? And I would say as a 12-teamer, 15-teamer, you don't really need to go after Povich. I don't think he's squeezing everything he can out of this right now, not to mention the four-seamer being as kind of mediocre as it is. Unfortunately, it's low velocity. The only thing it has going is a little bit extra vert this time. It just means that there's too small of a margin for error that you shouldn't be chasing it. But that is it for today. Thank you all so much for your support. My name is Nick Pollock, and may your BABIPs be low and your strikeouts high.